provider.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of Open Court here on NBA TV. I'm Matt Wayne. Since its inception, Open Court has given NBA players and coaches, past and present, a platform to discuss not just hoops, but their perspectives on all kinds of topics. Because these shows are unscripted, our panelists are free to take the conversation wherever they like. And we've had plenty of genuinely surprising, thoughtful, insightful, and hilarious moments to prove it. Over the next hour, we'll take a look back at some of the best of the shows in years past. First up, some intense debate on some of the greatest players to ever lace them up. Take a look. Some of the greatest feat ever in NBA history when you're talking about signature moves, Kevin McHale and the Dream Shake, Hakeem Olajuwon.
I think they're the two best. They're the two, and I played many years against both of those guys. And Kevin McHale, it got to the point where they were calling him a man of 1,000 moves. Could not guard him one-on-one on the box because he had such great footwork, and he did a great job of feeling the contact. And once he felt you, you were done. If the double team didn't come right away, forget about it. He had too much stuff on the box.
Tall skilled beats small skilled all the time. Now, you know, small skilled beats tall stiff all the time. But I mean, there's just no way. Like, I honestly, I watched, you know, your Golden State series and I said, I would love to have Draymond Green guard me. I don't care how many threes, what he was doing. I'm just like, there's just no way that guy, he couldn't grow enough to guard me. I mean, you know.
You'll be hearing from him tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Draymond, you couldn't grow enough, young man.
Hakeem, the same thing. Not only was he a very agile guy, but he was super strong around the basket, and he just had an unbelievable feel for the game. I remember the year that David Robinson got the MVP. He was a little upset about that, so he made a statement in the playoffs and basically destroyed it in the playoffs. But it's because of his footwork and the way he worked on his game. Because when he first came in the league, actually when he was at the University of Houston, didn't have great footwork at all.
Yeah.
Wasn't a very good scorer.
Let me give you our scouting report for Hakeem Olajuwon. Earl Puritan said he's two people. We got Hakeem, who give you the shake, and then I got to guard Olajuwon on the block.
Seriously, that's true. In '96, I was on the Olympic team, and we had Lenny Wilkins, and we didn't practice. So every day, Hakeem and I would play one-on-one. And his footwork was crazy, but he would tell me that he would take the footwork and the discipline of a guard and take that into the block.
Yeah.
And so it all comes back to what we're saying. You see the athleticism, you see the shimmy and all that, but it's fundamentals. It's footwork, fundamental basics. And he would take the guard footwork and say, I just do what you do, but I do it on the block. And he was one of the best to ever do it.
I think Magic would be great, but I don't think he would. In this era, I think we would be talking about Magic Johnson, probably one of the greatest centers to ever play the game.
I think he still can play point, Isaiah.
I don't, no way he would be able to guard
Because
these guys
even
out front.
back,
But he guarded. What
him.
about you,
He didn't guard him.
Stockton?
That's why we went to the finals. That's why we went. He couldn't guard us. But
he didn't guard you guys back then. He put Michael Cooper on basically all.
And so that's what I'm saying. So at the point guard position today,
he put Cooper on him.
okay, but would he be able to play high screen and roll?
I'd say yes.
And I would say, I would think in this game today, the way it's coached and the way the centers are at 6'8", 6'9", Magic Johnson now would revolutionize the center position and be something totally different that we've never seen before, other than the point guard position that he revolutionized. So at the point guard position, he was the standard, and I think in this era, he would be the standard at the center position, not the point guard position.
Point center.
He'd still be point center. I think with his mindset, whatever position, he's going to have the ball in his hand.
I would think
He's going to have the ball in his hand.
So you're saying he would come up to the high post and make moves and pass from the center position, or go to the low post, do moves and make passes from there that we had never seen before?
Yeah, that's what I think.
From up top.
Yeah, I don't think he would be coming down, playing high screen and roll, stepping behind, shooting a three, you know, shaking you, you know, and he wouldn't be doing all that. Now, what he would be doing as a center is when he's catching it, you saying, oh, Well, what are we gonna do now when he has it? Because now he can get to the basket. You know, I mean, it's totally different. Larry had the greatest step back I ever saw. You know, because he would give it to you on your left, and then he would step back and let it go. And then he had, again, every time I talk about his shot, you know, when you see a pretty ball rolling in the air, again, it's like it's telling a story in the air.
And see, people don't realize how
rotation
big
of-
Larry
Yeah,
was
that's the thing,
either.
6'10".
He was 6'10",
Yes.
shooting that fade away from the court. There was nothing you can do
Tell
about
us
it.
about it, Sneak. Tell us about Larry Bird.
Seems like you have some experience on this topic.
tell us.
A lot of experience. I give you a game. I give you a game. Well, Kevin McHale scored 57 one night. So Bird said, I'm going to break your record against Atlanta. I'm like, you won't get 55, not here, you know. Well,
In New Orleans,
New Orleans.
Giving each other, hey.
some free chili.
He got so hot in that game that you talk about that patented step back. He was doing that step back, and he switched it to his left hand 3 separate times in that game and hit a 3. He was scoring anywhere on the floor that he wanted.
Is this when the bench
it
was giving
unbelievable.
each other 5?
The bench was giving each other 5.
So did you get in a fight with them after the game? Forget Larry. Did
Well,
you
put
beat
it-
anybody on the
I'll
bench?
put it
Because
this way
you
here.
giving 5, he's scoring on me.
Every one of those
You're on my
guys
team.
got fined $3,000.
Okay, good.
I mean, I could not. I've never seen a guy get that hot before.
They got fined $3,000,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Now, we watching the film the next day, and we looking at everybody. Now, Fratello fined everybody $3,000, but what y'all didn't see was he was sitting down like,
You know what?
And you should have filed Fratello $10,000. Because can't he call a double team?
Who had the best crossover?
So there's 2 different kind of crossovers. So the crossover that myself and Tim had, it was a 1-2 between the legs, and then it was a low crossover under the knees. So as Smitty was saying, everything was tight. And we were taught that you play inside the box. You never come outside the box so you can get right to your shot. Iverson came in with a crossover that was outside of the box.
Wide, yeah.
And so his crossover was out here, and then he would shake with it and then bring it back, you know? And so when he went outside the box, that's why Iverson had to bring his shot back in to shoot from over here. That's the difference. But Iverson, when he added the shake to it, I'm glad it was on Jordan and it wasn't on me.
And it's a simple question for you guys. Who is the smartest player you've ever coached?
Smartest player I ever coached is not close. Jason Kidd. Not even close. The guy was a savant on the basketball floor. And the best example, a lot of you guys have seen it. We played a game against Atlanta a few years ago. You know, we're down 2 with under a minute left. Mike Woodson is out on the floor. He's out on the floor like 3 steps, giving instructions to one of his players or pointing or something. Jason sees him, puts it in overdrive, and goes and intentionally hits Woody, knowing that it's going to be a technical foul on the coach. So they call a technical, and Jason makes the free throw. Now we're on an odd number, and we had some momentum going, and we ended up stealing the game.
Well, what is the greatest clutch moment?
Utah, everybody knows the ball is coming to him. All eyes are on him. He's got to get a shot. Somehow he maneuvers, gets his man off balance.
Was that a foul?
Refs don't call fouls at the end.
Right.
It was the Reggie Miller push-off. He just had the ball. But even though he got open, and that's what I mean by clutch and pressure, because everybody knows it's coming to him. You got to make it. You got to get open. He finds a way to get open, right? And now he's standing at the foul line after, a historic career. You standing at the foul line, and you knock that shot down, and he captures the moment after he makes the shot. I think he understood the moment. The Utah fans in the building understood the moment, and it was just one of those priceless moments in sport where when he stood there and just held the gooseneck, the ball was in the hole, and it was like, It was like Muhammad Ali standing over Sonny Liston saying, "Get up, get up."
Not only that,
it was great.
Think
It
of the
was great.
context of that play. What had happened in the last couple of trips down the floor, he had scored a bucket on a drive. He had stripped Karl Malone on the previous defensive possession, and that turned out to be his final shot as a Chicago Bull to win an NBA Finals. Coming up next, we revisit one of the most heated debates in open court history, the 50 greatest and next 10. Stay tuned.
I need to go look at my stats. Come on, Dirk. Y'all sound crazy. You sound crazy. Go look at my numbers at Dirk.
No, your numbers the same as Dirk.
No, they not. Ask KG, Tim Duncan, and Dirk who on that list.
I got a little.
TV.
Welcome back to the best of open court. In 1996, during All-Star Weekend, the NBA announced the league's 50 greatest players of all time. Among them, obvious iconic names like Magic, Jordan, Bird, Russell. But beyond the no-brainers, there were greats competing with greats for the honor, and elite players left off the list entirely. Now, nearly 20 years later, there are even more names who weren't qualified at the time to make the top 50 who are worthy of discussion for the next 10.
So right now we got Duncan, we got Kobe,
Yes.
we got LeBron,
Yes.
we got AI,
Yes.
we got KG,
Yes.
and we've got Dirk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 unanimous at this point. How about?
So we're not going to do the McAdoo.
What about Paul Pierce?
Is Dominique unanimous?
Yes. I have another unanimous, I hope. And y'all, it might not like it. I don't know.
Is
Dwayne
Alex
Wade.
Huh?
I have Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade is
Is D
unanimous.
Wade unanimous?
I would have a Dwayne Wade.
I would have
Over
a Dwayne
Penny?
Wade.
Oh, he's got a question.
He's not.
He's got a question.
He's not
Okay.
unanimous.
Is Alex English?
Over
was
I'm just saying,
Alex,
how many two guards are better than Dwayne Wade in
Over
history
Gary
of the game?
Payton?
I would
go with Dwayne
I would
Wade.
go with Dwayne
I don't know
Wade.
how many
Gary
two
Payton?
guards are better.
Isaiah.
I would
Go
also.
with Dwayne over Gary Payton.
You want, since you keep talking about Gary Payton,
I'm talking to Isaiah right now.
since you keep going with Gary Payton, I'll go with someone over Gary Payton. I'll go with Jason Kidd over Gary Payton.
I like both of them.
To me, winning
I'll go with
matters.
Jason Kidd over Gary Payton.
I go with, I go with Dwayne Wade. He's got rings. He's got championships. That's what it's.
That's a
Okay, look. Okay, time out.
He got Jordan.
Time.
He got one with Shaq
Yeah.
and LeBron.
Hold on a second.
Let's about GM.
Let's see if this is. Please, Dwayne Wade. Let me see a show of hands if Dwayne Wade is unanimous on the next 10. This side of the room and 3.5. Okay, so we're not going to put him there right now.
We have to revisit Dwayne Wade.
I mean,
We got to revisit Dwayne Wade.
Revisit Dwayne. How about
Okay.
Carmelo? How about Melo?
Over T-Mac and Penny?
Dwayne?
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm going to go with
Over
his
Penny?
analogy.
They won
I'm looking at his
Yeah,
fingers, man.
I mean, winning count.
Grant Hill.
Not over the.
All right.
I just want to say this about Grant Hill. We talk about Jason Kidd. When Grant Hill was healthy, to me, he was Jason Kidd.
Grant Hill was the first LeBron James.
He had
Grant Hill
crossover.
was the
He's
man.
triple.
Yeah.
He was double guy.
Audible, audible groan. from
I think the injuries,
Because, no
Listen,
question.
Grant was terrific.
cold.
But LeBron is
Okay.
30 pounds heavier.
I'm talking
Oh,
in
yeah,
terms
no,
of
LeBron.
straight triple doubles, dominating the game, playing defense. The dude did everything.
That's true.
But
we had to see it on a nightly basis.
And nobody did that before that.
Scottie Pippen
No
was
three,
similar.
man.
No.
No, he wasn't.
No.
Name, Ernie. I got a name.
What about
Tracy
Jason
McGrady.
Tracy McGrady, is he unanimous?
What?
No. Okay.
But he drafted him. He drafted him. Yeah, he drafted him.
You want David
What do you expect him to say?
Okay. Reggie Miller.
No, I'll take myself off this. I'm not on that list.
I coached Reggie Miller.
I'm going
I
to
would
put Reggie in there.
And I would say we talk about clutch shot makers.
I'm not putting myself on that list.
So it's not going to be.
To me, Reggie Miller.
I'm not putting myself on that list.
We
To me, Reggie
appreciate
Miller
your-
was one of the clutch shot makers ever in this league. And when we talk about clutch, I'm not talking about at the end of the game. Reggie Miller would make those shots when you down 4 and you need a bucket to stay in the game. That's when you're giving it to Reggie Miller. A lot of guys miss those shots. But the shots that you got to make to keep up with the team that's pulling away, that's when you got a shot maker. And to me, Reggie's on that.
Zeke, I agree.
So
I agree.
take yourself, because you're not going to vote for yourself. Do we have unanimous Reggie Miller?
I'm on that.
Yeah, best shooter of all time.
I'm on that.
I'm on that. Shaq,
I don't know.
You on that?
Shaq is on a hold up.
Shaq's mad at me.
No, I'm not mad at you. I mean,
Just doesn't like you.
No, it's just that, I actually love Reggie. Me and Reggie, we have similar backgrounds, military. Woo. I'm gonna have to go with Ray Allen. Because Ray Allen sort of...
Can't fault that.
All right.
Ray Allen
in the top next 10?
No, hold on.
Yeah.
Over Reggie?
Yeah, no, because Ray took what Reggie did and kind of turned it up to that next level.
What did he do?
Wait, Paul Pierce shouldn't be in this discussion?
No, we got a lot of folks to discuss.
The only reason, before we even go to there, Ernie, like he just said Ray Allen.
Yeah.
I agree that Ray Allen is a great player, but he didn't carry a franchise as long as he carried a franchise.
In Indiana.
Okay, but
When they wanted Steve Alford.
I think they should have taken Steve Alford.
Now, since we've put you in a very uncomfortable spot, we'll do the same thing with Chris Webber.
Only thing I have to say in my behalf is that Dirk, KG, and Tim know me really well. That's all I got to say.
Okay,
That's
good
all I
case.
gotta say.
Good case.
No, I'm not even saying put up. Regardless,
I think people know my affinity for C-Web. He's gonna be in the Hall of Fame. He should be in the Hall of Fame. He goes to Golden State.
Rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year, but they win. They make the playoffs.
And he wraps around his back and dunks on you. And makes a commercial out
He
of it.
goes to D.C. and they win. Then he goes to Sacramento and they really win. So you talk about, Chauncey said something earlier about impact on the game. Everywhere he went, Sacramento wasn't any good when he went there. The Bullets never made the playoffs until he got there. Nobody thought about the Warriors until he got there. So he's going to get my vote in that next group.
This is the only reason I'm on hold, because I want to know if this name means anything. Two-time MVP of the league, Steve Nash.
No.
So
no,
that would be the only cry. Say, well, he was twice MVP of the league, so now I have to say Webb, maybe not. But if we're not looking at if we're looking at talent,
it's your eye test. It's your eye test.
No, but I wanted to throw that out.
I know.
But Kenny, Coach Reggie, was he true MVP or was he a sympathy MVP?
No, he was a true MVP.
Over me? Twice?
Oh, get out of here.
Hey, get out of here. Excuse me. Is that a smoking, take it back? Waterfront color ain't no good. Over me. Stop it. Sympathy MVP. Oh, we sympathetic. Why? Because I was too big, too strong, and too good. I can't get it every year.
Sounds like the ramblings of a
But he wanted it back-to-back.
Let it go, man.
I ain't letting nothing go.
The ramblings of a bitter runner-up.
My memories.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, look.
You can't discredit a two-time MVP.
No.
Can't be in the top.
My question is, was Steve Nash MVP because of the system he played in?
I'm just asking.
Because in that
are
system,
we going to discredit two-time?
Because in that system, a bunch of players
look really good.
Look really good, Kenny.
If we were all GMs and you had Jason Kidd, Gary Payton, Steve Nash all lined up, he would be the third point.
I would say
no question.
He'd be the third point.
No
question.
question.
That's why I can't put him on there.
All right.
Speaking of lists, here's our list. Tim Duncan.
Yes.
Kobe Bryant.
Yes.
LeBron James.
Yes.
Allen Iverson.
Yep.
Yes.
Kevin Garnett.
Yep.
Yes.
Dirk Nowitzki.
Yep.
Yes.
Dominique Wilkins.
Yep.
Yes.
Bob McAdoo.
Yep.
Chris Webber.
Yep.
Yes.
That's 9. And now we've got Kevin Durant and D-Wade.
I'm just going to do this.
We're going through the list.
I'm going to give you a hug. Come here.
I ain't standing up. You ain't hugging me for getting off the list.
Come on, man.
And now it's not unanimous on C-Web. That means KD and D-Wade join the list of the 10.
After the break, we'll take a look at some of the funnier moments in the show's history when the best of Open Court continues. It's no secret one of the strengths of our Open Court casts is that in addition to their hoops cred, they're also made up of some of the most hilarious names in sports. Guys like Shaq and Chuck have been known to occasionally break the internet. Check out some of these funny moments from the entire game.
It's Grant Hill's segment, and his question is, who is your funniest teammate?
Yeah,
it's your topic,
I had
so
to lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah.
But you know, you play long. I played 19 years.
Oof.
You come across a lot of characters.
A lot of years.
But you know, for me, hands down, it was Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, most of the stories I can't. I can't repeat most of the stories. But I mean, every day, I think he literally would come to practice every day thinking of how can I make everybody laugh. And but
did it actually make you laugh, or did it just make you shake your head?
A little bit of both. But I mean, Shaq. I remember one time we getting ready to play a big game against Dallas. As a matter of fact, I think it was a TNT game. We're fighting for playoff position, and after the pregame meeting, you know, I go in the bathroom, I come out, and Gordon Girachek is laid out on the floor. And, like, the trainers are, like, trying to wake him up, you know. Shaq choked him out. Like, 18 minutes on the clock, we're getting ready to go out to play, and Shaq, like, put him in the sleeper hold because he was talking too much. He was talking trash to Shaq. So Shaq...
That's one funny
He's not here to defend himself, Shaq. But I mean, it was like, bully. G. Hill, I told him don't mess with me, G. Hill. I told him.
I think if you ask Gordon Girachek right now, your funniest teammate, Shaq wouldn't be the answer that comes up.
Scary.
Oh,
it wasn't. Yeah, it was. I guess it wasn't funny then.
John Salley was, he really was a comedian. He would write jokes, and then he would go and perform them. And so I remember Adrian Dantley, right? He said, Sally is a guy who has theme music when he walks in. So when Sally would walk in, we would all say, John Sally. That's what I just said. Ken Norman.
Yeah.
Ken Norman. Snake. The snake. He ain't seen funny. Funny. Different funny. We were playing the Chicago Bulls. And being him from Chicago,
right?
He used to go, ooh, Michael Jordan's gonna be jumping high. I got the best seat spinning. Ooh, Lenny. And if you want to see what Lenny broke the record, all-time wins.
I know where you're going.
He's cheesing with Lenny. Ken Norman by far. He used to always say, Smitty. George, go to George. I talked to Juanita. He gonna get 50. His wife,
That's good. Oh, pre-game meal. This is something that everybody has to answer.
I'll tell you a quick story about Tony Kukoc. That when he came over to the NBA, first game of the season, I asked him if he wanted to go grab a bite to eat. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, kind of, you know, 4 hours before the game. And he orders this feast. I mean, salad, appetizer, huge plate of pasta, chicken, glass of red wine, a dessert like tiramisu, and then he follows it up with an espresso. And I'm just in awe. I'm sitting there looking at him like, Tony, this is your pregame meal? He goes, in Europe, we eat a lot, we drink a little wine, we have espresso, we go back to hotel, take beer, then we go. Hey, all right, here we go.
This is one of those limo games. You make sure he gets to the arena because you're going to wear him out. Sometimes it just doesn't work that way, does it, Shaq? If you had to narrow it down to just one.
Big country.
Big country? Why?
Because you know, guards that don't play defense, they always tell bigs to show. So I would show, and Big Country be 15 feet away, and I would have to rotate back. And he had the ugliest Duckworth one-hand jumper. He shoot it, and it always go in. And so halftime, I'm looking at the stats. Shaq 15, Big Country 26. I'm like, man.
Joe Dumars and Isaiah, they had like a secret language. And y'all all knew, yes, the whole...
Yeah, it's called hood rap. It's called hood rap.
Right? So you got Joe, and Joe was like the gentle one, and the rest of them were a bunch of pack of wild dogs. So Joe's trying to tell me, hey, Reg, I'm gonna kind of let you go by me, but you knew you were going into Bill Laimbeer, Rick Mahorn, and you knew you had to take your punishment, but you couldn't be a punk, right?
Yeah.
So you couldn't settle for jumpers. So Joe's like, I really wouldn't do it if I was you, but... And then Isaiah's looking over him. You couldn't get off of him, or you couldn't get off. So, Dumars...
I'd love to hear your side of this story. Come on.
But what was that language? You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I told you, hood rap.
Your toughest guy to check?
Steve Coulter.
Oh, of course. We all knew that.
The crooked leg. he had a move.
Get a ball, get a ball, get a ball. Get a ball.
Ball right here.
He had a move.
I guard you.
I couldn't.
I guard you.
I could not.
Come over here, I guard you. I guard you.
And we would call it the crooked leg. He's going right, full speed, and he would stop, plant his left leg really hard. And then he would throw the ball. And then go with it. Full speed, right? And so Washington had this great scorer by the name of Jeff Malone.
Oh, yeah.
And we would come to the arena. We playing the Washington Bullets Wizards now, right? And I would say to Dumars, hey, you take Steve Coulter. I got Jeff Malone.
Dana Barros.
Oh, yeah.
He just got rolling for some reason when he saw my face. And so... rolling. So he had his career high. He had 50 points against us. Houston. We were up like 17, 18.
Us or me?
No, on me. No, wait. But no.
Just 48 on 10.
No, wait. The best part about it... No, the best part about it is when Sam Cassell came to the team. He didn't know I had trouble with Dana Barros. So, first 2 or 3 plays, he get it rolling. Boom, boom. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get these 2 fouls. Right. It's not coming in. So then, Sam, so soon, oh, foul shaving. We up. I'm like, I'm not getting the business. So then all of a sudden, he's still hot. He hits like 3 or 4 more. Boom. So Scram's screaming on the bench. Why you get him rolling? Why'd you get him rolling? And I'm like, it's all you, baby. It's all you. So at the end of the game, he had 50. So Sam's like, they're on the reporters, and he's like, well, Kenny had 21 and I had 25. So we basically had 52. So it's even, it's a wash. But Dana Barros was that guy.
You think I could have blocked that skyhook? I think I could have got it. I could have got it a couple times.
I don't think you could have. You could have goaltended it.
Huh?
You just gonna block it when? On the way up?
I could have got him, Zeke.
When Kareem was like 22, 25, 27, the stuff that he was doing in this league, Shaq, he'd have been, I love you, and you know I love you. But he'd have been giving it to you.
Up next, our panelists take on a more serious tone when Open Court returns.
BLP.
On the court, NBA players are some of the most beloved and celebrated athletes in the entire world. But off the court, they deal with the same issues that we all face as regular people. Here are some of the best discussions from these extraordinary individuals on ordinary, everyday problems.
And since we've last been together, we saw baseball, the PED thing continuing. You saw the Ryan Braun situation in which he had adamantly denied doing anything and then kind of fessing up, and then A-Rod getting this huge suspension and fighting that and continuing to play for the Yankees. Chuck, what did you make of all that when you were watching it from a distance?
I think it's such a convoluted situation, Ernie. I never try to act like I'm God on television. If I could take a pill and make hundreds of millions of dollars, I would do it. I think it's so hypocritical for all these people to act like, oh, it's so bad, it's so evil. If my livelihood is baseball and I got to support my family, I'm going to take an injection. I think it's so hypocritical for people to act like whether you say it's right or wrong, I think we're all in a unique situation. Let's take one of these guys from a foreign country. If I'm living in a crappy third world country, I can come to the United States and make hundreds of millions of dollars and change my whole outlook for my entire family for generations to come. I'm going to do that. I just think it's not as cut and dry as people make it out to be.
But that's not always the case. There are some guys who certainly are set financially for this lifetime and any lifetime to come and are still doing that and playing with an uneven playing field.
I think that's part of it too, but I think sometimes you don't know their exact situation. Maybe they want to stay at a certain level from a production standpoint.
Yeah, but are you saying that's okay?
I'm not saying it's okay. I said I understand, because baseball tolerated steroids for so long. I think it's ingrained in the game. I think performance-enhancing drugs are ingrained in sports.
I've never said this to nobody. I've kept it to myself because I was playing on such a high level and for so many years. And when I had my knee injury, I was doing everything in my willpower to get back to that level. Naturally, I couldn't do it because I just didn't have the strength, I didn't have the confidence, and I just didn't believe that I was going to get there just doing it naturally. I actually considered getting advantage, and whatever that was, doing it illegally, I considered that.
You consider it because somebody said, hey, I can get you back quick?
No, just because
or did you say, is there something I can do, or did somebody come to you and say,
no, I just because the era that we're in, especially baseball, with a lot of guys doing it. I mean, because obviously they're doing it to stay healthy, to stay on the field, or to stay at that level that they're playing. I consider doing that. Now, I never crossed that line because I read up on it and seen the side effects and everything that could happen.
Jason Collins played 38 games last year with Boston and Washington. Was a free agent at the time of the announcement. Think a team is going to pick him up, and should a team pick him up?
My thinking of it is, I think someone should sign him because of that.
Because he's come out.
Right, because the statement of, integration, the statement of blending, sometimes have to overpower your ability because the statement is bigger. And if you have an 11th or 12th man, you have a guy that's signed for a week, he could help you for a week. He's been a veteran. So the statement of it is bigger than the actual, does he deserve to? Now, everyone who comes after him, you better deserve it.
We've all played with a gay player before.
Exactly.
We've all played with a gay player before. And number one, me being black, I always want to be inclusive. I want him in the league, but I don't want him in the league just to prove a point.
Right.
I think Jason's skills have deteriorated. I mean, he's at the end of his career. I do think it'd be a cool thing socially, what Kenny says, for somebody to sign him. But I don't know how much he has left in the tank. And Doc Rivers said something that I thought was interesting, and I've said it many years, not just now. I think he'd be welcome more in the locker room than he will be toward the general public, because the general public is more homophobic. Listen, when you're on a team, and these guys know, when you're on a team, Ernie, we take you for good or bad. We play with criminals. We play with guys who are crazy. But folks,
you fit both of those counts.
He wasn't that was coming. You knew that was coming. Good point. But I just think that when you're on a team, we always support you.
Even as going back to Magic Johnson, the rule wasn't that he should play in the All-Star game, but it was a statement, and that statement was big. So sometimes the statement outweighs what really should be happening. And I just feel that this statement sometimes could outweigh that.
There's two types of racism: financial, economic racism is the biggest problem. And that goes for white people too. We got to give poor black people and poor white people economic opportunity. When you go speak to these kids, they only think they can be jocks or entertainers. They don't ever think about being doctors, lawyers, teachers, firemen, policemen.
The thing that you have to understand when you're
and growing up in an inner city, where I could speak from that standpoint, you have to grow up earlier. And meaning you have to say at 9 years old, you have to learn, if you're watching this show, go, I could be something different. How can I find that place in my neighborhood to help me be something different? Where maybe when you have all your parents, you don't have to do it, but you have to make grown-up decisions when you're in the inner city anyway. When you walk into school, you making grown-up decisions. Every single 30 seconds you walking down that street. So you got to start learning how to make those decisions, as well as now saying my future decisions and how do I get to those places.
When I met Chuck, I knew I could make it to the league. I didn't play against him. I didn't do nothing. It was just the fact like, okay, this is what you look like. I take a doctor into the school and they meet a doctor. And they say, wow, what type of music do you listen to? The doctor say, Lil Wayne. Like, you listen to, like, I can be you? Or you tell a little kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? How many of you never want to wear a suit to work every day? Well, hey, here's construction, here's this, here's that, here's trade schools. We always put this big picture, hey, you could be, no, how about you could be a great man, love God, take care of your family, and be honorable in society, and this is how you do it.
See, Webb, that answer goes in the Hall of Fame for Open Court. We'll be back.
It's a truism you hear around here over and over. Father Time is undefeated. Often a player's body and his coaches know it before the player himself, but the day to walk away arrives for everyone sooner or later. In this next segment, the fellas discuss the idea of what might have been and the moment it's time to hang him up for good.
We're calling this kind of missed opportunities or what could have been.
You know, I think, you know, obviously I went through a tough stretch for about 4 or 5 years in Orlando, and you spend so much time trying to get back and trying to reinvent yourself and trying to still get a lot of joy out of playing. Not to get all into it, but I had to have skin graft and
we talked about it,
staph infection, the whole bit, and I'm like, man, what am I doing? Like, you know, I'm done. I don't want to play anymore. So for a good year, the year I sat out, I didn't want to play anymore.
Right.
But then you get healthy. You start feeling good. You say, oh, maybe I can get back out there. And so we all have played probably when we shouldn't have played. Mm-hmm. And I think you do that because you love the game.
The amazing thing is, too, and Kenny and you and I were talking about it in a commercial break, and you took your sock off.
Man, that's not pretty, man.
And we looked at your ankle.
Right.
And you said this is about as low as it's been. This is with the swelling at its low point.
And the smell was awful.
That's skin graft smell.
Like my 11-year-old.
Do we do that on Open Court? Do we ask you to show us your ankle on Open Court?
You really want me to?
Yeah.
Okay, man.
I mean, it's nothing pretty.
No,
For
it's
you
not
children
pretty.
at home, be careful.
Man.
This is the cost of success right here.
Yeah. It's 19 years, but it's this is.
Look at that.
If I had known, I'd have put some lotion on my ankle.
No, we let you slide. That's the skin graft. That's the skin graft.
Yeah, you can't really see it. But
I think for Grant, we all played the what-if game for you, competing against you, watching you play. I have never seen anything like that. You know what I mean? For a guy, you know, I pride myself being, you know, a big guard. You seeing him handle the basketball and, you know, because we played against you guys in playoffs 2 or 3 times when we were saying, we can't stop him from getting to the bucket with Dikembe behind us. Mm-hmm. You know, where Dikembe's, you dunking on Dikembe with ease. And with Mookie, with myself and us all double teaming him and him being able to make it easy. And, you know, no disrespect to your teammates, you didn't have a lot with you. And you
That's
made
a little
it easy.
disrespectful, but that's all right.
I will say this, though. You know, it's funny, with YouTube now and things like that, my children, my daughter, who's 11, she'll get on there every once in a while. She'll like, Dad, you were pretty good. Like, you weren't always a scrub.
She doesn't refer to you as a scrub. What was the moment that you knew it was over, Grant?
Oh, wow. For me, last year, Game 5, Memphis. Haven't played the whole series, probably didn't play the 10 games going into the playoffs. I'm all excited. I think I'm going to play. I'm going in layup line, trying to keep up with the young guys dunking in layup line. And at the end of the game, I didn't play, but my knee's hurting. So when the series is over, I get an MRI, and I have a surface tear of my medial meniscus. And so when you hurt yourself in layup line, it's time to go sit down. It might be time.
Jamal Crawford threw it through my legs.
Oh, it's time to quit.
I remember that.
It's time to quit.
I've seen that.
You remember that, huh?
Yeah.
This sounds like the don't remind me segment from an earlier show. Go ahead.
You know, the new up screener rolls. So I put my foot on the sideline thinking he has nowhere to go. He threw it through my legs and laid it up. But I looked at Bernie Bickerstaff as my coach, and he said, time. You're a young player. You get a steal. You take that, like Isaiah said earlier, and Grant, you take a picture to see where everybody is, and then you take off. And when you take that picture when you're young and you get that steal, you see everybody they like this. Then when you're getting older and you turn around and take that picture and you see everything, you're like, oh, they think they can catch me. Oh, it's time to retire right now.
We'll wrap up this special Best of Open Court after the break. Throughout the hour, we've shown you our NBA stars' takes on so many aspects of the game, funny moments and debate on serious topics included. We'll leave you with the guys' thoughts on their goals to leave the game better off than when they arrived.
To the community, you have to be a servant to everyone that you meet. You give of yourself, you give of your time, you pass on knowledge. And my job when I got to the NBA was not to necessarily be this great NBA player, but my job was to go out and be a pillar and a servant in the community. And that's what I tried to do. I tried to go to people's homes. I would give food away. I would knock on people's doors.
He's being modest, EJ. He came to my block in a Toyota 4Runner. Yes. Everybody on my neighborhood came out, but they were really respectful. So as he walked into my house, everybody started clapping. When we came out my house, because my father gave everybody a look like, don't come over here and mess with Isaiah. Everybody was like behind the trees and stuff. And then Isaiah was like, and once he smiled, boom, everybody came over. Now, think about how important this is. It's Isaiah and the ice cream truck. Ooh. The ice cream truck passed and nobody turned around. Oh, yeah. And he stayed there about a half hour. Now, he came over. You know how we are. We got to go. It's a bad neighborhood. Somebody could rob him. Something bad could happen. He takes his time out. But the most important thing we got out of it, because he didn't talk basketball, the most important thing that we got out of it was that we are important enough for the most important man in Detroit to come sit and talk to us. I'm just as valuable as he is. I'm just as important as he is. I'm just as much of a man as he is. Now let me go act like him.
Did you like the way a certain guy approached the game?
My first day of practice is Chris Mullin. And I've never seen anybody that could shoot like that. I was just in awe and just watching him. And I asked him, how do you stay in this league? And he sat me in the cold tub. And I didn't want to do it. And he sat me in the hot tub, and he sat me in the cold tub, and hot tub 5 minutes. He was like, this is how I rejuvenate my body, because he was older at the end of his career. And so I would just watch him stretching. I would go to his house, see what he was eating for breakfast. Like, you know, first I was a fan, and he was my man, but also I knew, you know, you follow the great ones. You follow somebody that's been before you and does it better. And Chris Mullin was a wonderful example, especially shooting drills and to be consistent, because it wasn't like I do this every Tuesday or I do this Thursday. With him, it was every day.
I can't tell you, Ernie, how the hours that I spent with Chris, like Webb's saying, just to see it, but every summer I go home, we were in the gym for 6 hours a day. You know, and this is Chris post-Dream Team, playing in Indiana, and still in the gym, having that be his getaway, and every day shooting shots and playing. I can't describe
I never
it.
even worked out with Chris Mullin, but I did the Mullin drills every day in my workout. I mean, that was his scope of his influence on the league. He actually wrote a book with Mark Grabo, the Golden State strength coach. It's called like the Top 100 or something. Those were his drills. I got a hold of that book, barely knew Chris. I did his drills every single day while I was playing.
But one thing about sports, every time you go to a different level, Ernie, you start over. So, like in high school, I told you, you know, Tiger Woods, I always talk about he had Jack Nicklaus on the wall.
Yeah.
I had a guy named Travis Abernethy on my wall in high school because he was the best player from high school. So I had Travis up on the wall. But then when you go to college, you back at zero. and I attached myself to a guy named Greg Turner, who's still great friends today. Like, this guy was the hardest working guy. So I said, okay, I'm going to follow that guy. So then when I go to the NBA, you start back at zero. And then Moses Malone took over. And Moses probably had the greatest influence on my basketball career. Because, you know, Moses says, I said, Moses, I'm not getting to play. He says, oh, you're fat and you're lazy. And I said, sound like you said I was fat and I was lazy. I did, big fella, I did. You're fat and you're lazy. And Moses got me, because like I say, I played at 300 pounds in college.
Holy crap.
And I thought, because that's another thing you have to learn. High school shape ain't college shape, because you're playing against better players. And college shape ain't pro shape.
Right.
So Moses said, you need to lose 10, 15 pounds. So I'm down to 285. Things are starting to get better. I'm starting to play a little bit. He said, lose another 10 pounds. I get down to 275. Now, I'm starting. I'm playing well. I end up getting down to my playing weight, which was 250. Brent had it was 100% correct. You always start at zero, but you have to find somebody to follow.
That'll do it for this special edition of the Best of Open Court. We appreciate you stopping by. Hope you enjoyed it, everybody. But before we go, here are some words of wisdom from former NBA on TNT analyst and current head coach of the Golden State Warriors, Steve Kerr.
The NBA is missing blank.
The NBA is missing low post man. I mean, that is so different from when everybody else kind of came into the league. The NBA was dominated by big men, and now there's hardly any of them, and too many teams just launching threes from everywhere. I think that's bad for the game.